Hi and welcome to the Crafty Mini. Today we're going to do another community project, but this is a secret one that the recipients aren't aware of yet. So just Outlook Gaming, there'll be a link in the description. Go and check them out. They're a family friendly computer game Let's Play YouTube channel. I did a little project for them and their kids a while ago, and it was because of that they got me into, you know, they were like, yeah, you should go and do a YouTube channel startup, and because of that that's why the Crafty Mini channel now exists. Their support and friendship throughout the creation of this has been absolutely amazing, so I thought I'd do a nice little thank you. Now they play a lot of games but predominantly play Ark, so I thought, right, we'll do an Ark based diorama. So starting off, I've got a cork placemat that I got from, I think it was IKEA, for a couple of quid. Now the clay bits here, this is air dry clay from an old project that didn't work out. You'll notice the ball bearings, it was going to be some sort of monster thing, but I broke it up, and this is to add a bit of verticality and just, yeah, various bits of height on the diorama itself. I'm just gluing these down just with some PVA glue, because eventually this will all get sealed in anyway with Mod Podge and other things, so it'll all hold. This is just to get me a rough idea. The miniatures, they arrived the other day, and we're basically going to have Dr. Just and Madam Hour, that's the channel's two main characters, fighting off a couple of raptors. So after everything's glued down, I'll start covering it with Wilkinson's wall filler. You can get this in the UK. It's really good texture basing material, to be honest with you. It's got everything you need. It's got like a bit of a sandy texture. You can smooth it out with water if you want. It's an all-in-one, and you know, considering it's £3 for about a litre, you know, why are we paying £4 for a 17mm pot from certain shops and hobby shops? You know, this does the exact same thing. So just slapping this on, smoothing it all out now.
Hey Crafty, this is what you've used on your armies and stuff, haven't you? Your bolt action and all that. I'm sure I've seen it before.
I've used this pot on a variety of projects, from my Lannister army for A Song of Ice and Fire. I use it on a lot of my dioramas and things, just because it adds a load of texture and layers to it. It does take a while to dry, that is a slight downside, but once it is dry it's solid. I mean, this is designed for filling walls. Right, and when this is dry, so lost a little bit of footage here, but basically I've covered it in a Mod Podge and brown paint mix, and then while that's actually drying, while it's still a bit tacky, I've started sprinkling on this base material. Now this is actually a mixture of sand, a bit of soil from the garden that I've cooked in the oven just to kill off any bacteria. There's a lot of actually tea leaves, Yorkshire of course, and a bit of chamomile tea, because that adds really good, it looks like good ground texture at 28mm sort of scale. And then now I'm just going in, I'm ripping up this clump foliage I got from Geek Gaming Scenics, and I'm putting that on top now, just in strategic in areas with some of the bigger like pebbles and things. And this is just to break up the brown, and this will all come to life at the end. But yeah, just dotting this around, this will all get sealed in a moment as well when we put a layer on top. But I'm just sort of making it up now, and just breaking everything up, making everything look a bit nicer. Right, and then do it in a cardboard box, then any bits you've got that fallen off, put it back into your tub so you don't waste anything. Right, so next up we're going to start a few tufts. I've just got a box full that I've collected over the years. These I think are army painted marshland tufts. They've got a nice sort of deep brown in the bottom, which you'll see at the end on the glamour shots. But I'm sticking these down now. Some of them needed a bit of extra tack, so I've just put a little bit of PVA glue. And then just dotting these around the base in little clumps, because the idea is this will be like a marshland sort of diorama where you've got the little stream that runs through. And yeah, just popping these onto the base now. And then I've got some other tufts here. These are like these are also like a marshland, but they've got green tops, which are quite nice because they break it up a bit more and they look like little flowers. So I'm just popping these on, and I'll go in with a paintbrush and actually add extra colours on, because the idea it'll be is that, so in Ark you harvest the bushes for berries, stim berries, narco berries and things. So I'll do that and actually paint the colours of the berries on there, so it'll look like it's an in-game element. And these are just put on in certain few areas as well. And then lastly I've got this clump foliage. I'm not actually sure what it's called. So they're like little bushes, and they're stuck together, and you rip them apart to create whatever bush you want, and they're on stems, and then you just glue them on like that. If you've looked at my previous videos, you'll see on one of my the World War II stuff, the bolt action, I've used it on that for the foliage onto the Stug tank. It's a really good little thing in this, and the little leaves that do fall off, they go straight into the tub. So you can see I'm just cutting a little hole into the base with a X-Acto knife and sticking in the clump foliage, and you'll see here it makes a little bush when it's done, and just a blob of PVA and it'll hold, because again it'll all get sealed in a moment. Bit finicky, but it's worth it, and again it adds a bit more dimension to it, a bit more 3D. And you can see there I'm just adding a blob of PVA and then just sticking the extra pieces of this bush into it, taking a few of the stems off just to make it a bit thicker and a bit chunkier. And this all adds to the final product when it's done. I absolutely love getting into, I got into dioramas a few years ago, and I've really enjoyed doing it since then. So this is the sealant spray. So this is again Geek Gaming Scenics, and it's in a little pump, a sort of squirt bottle, and it's effectively like a thin down acrylic PVA that dries super matte, and you just spray this all over and it'll seal all those tea leaves, all the little clump foliage in, so they stick to the base. And again, just leave it to dry and everything's good. Right, so this is after everything's dried. So now I'm going in and I'm just dry brushing on the rocks that have just got the Wilco wall filler paste on. Dry brushing grey. We'll dull these down again with washes later, and a little bit into the river as well. And I'll add a couple of little colours just to break it up. So there's a bit of green and there's a darker grey in there as well. Again, all these extra little colours and little details, they'll just break up. Also on some of the areas of the base I'll just dab on a few colours as well, just to break it up. And you see I'm just lightening up the rocks because I know they'll be darkened down with a wash later. Right, so UV resin again. Great for adding a bit of texture and making this look like a stream. So just squares a bit on using an old brush and just moving it around, and then we cure it. And this is purely just for fun, just so you can see how this works. And when the light's off, it does look cool. I'm just going around there, curing the UV resin, and then when that's dry, I'll do another layer on top as well. Right, so now the UV's now cured, and you can see the base is starting to come to life. So now I go in and just with some black and brown washes, just darken down those rocks a little bit, just on the grey areas that I've dry brushed. And we just dabbing it on. And then I'll go in and mix the brown and just let both the washes just run together, and it'll look natural when it's done. And just chucking this on now quite thickly because I want all these rocks to completely dull down. And the great thing with dioramas is just experiment. I mean, the tea leaves thing, that's only something I found out a few months ago, and it's been a game changer. Right, on to the dinosaurs, so the raptors. So I knew I was going to do 3 distinct colours. I'm just popping this I think it's US Army Olive Drab is the colour. Just popping this all over, and then we'll start to blend in the other colours of the paint scheme on there, because I want them to have, each raptor to have its own distinct colour scheme. And these are absolutely lovely miniatures that were 3D printed. Right, so after the base colour, so I've gone in and dry brushed just a lighter green on top, and then I'm popping this brown wash on, and then we'll go in again and touch them up after, because the washes can leave them quite glossy. But yep, just all over, and this just brings out all the details on the miniature, around especially the face in particular, and the eyes and all the claws and things.
What's a dinosaur? Looks like a chicken without feathers, does that? Yeah. Giant lizards.
So I wanted like a reddish one, because in Ark, for those who've played it, a lot of the dinosaurs are very, very colourful. These raptors don't have those feathers that are on the Ark ones, but I remember an alpha raptor when I played it a few times, and this alpha raptor, it was like a reddish orange, absolutely destroyed us on multiple occasions, the same one. So I was like, right, we'll do an alpha raptor colour here. And as I go in, I'm blending a lighter version of the orange on the underside, and going back to the main colour on top and blending it into each other, just so it looks a bit more natural for the colour schemes. As best, you know, if you look at like pictures of dinosaurs, that's the best guess we've got for colour because we're not actually sure. And just going through now, and so the underside is this sort of brownish orange you see there, and then I'll go back to the orange on top and blend them back into each other, and it goes from one to the other. And again, like the green one, this gets a wash, so just a sepia wash all over to just make all the details pop, and then it'll get highlighted with just a quick dry brush with that main orange again just on top, just to bring the details back out. It's a really simple effect, really easy to do, and especially for beginners. Just if you want to get miniatures painted quickly and make them pop, the base colour wash, put the base colour back on top as a dry brush, done. And then worry about going in and doing all the details like the eyes and the claws and things after that. Right, so this raptor, I wanted to go for sort of a mixture of the two. So started off with just a green all over, and I thought, right, I'll do a green and a brown. And then I was like, no, we'll do the orange sort of plume across the back of it. So we do that instead. And to be honest, it comes out quite nice. I might do more dinosaurs in the future actually, because they're actually really fun to paint. You see here, so I'm actually lightening up the green quite a lot, and again doing this as a pattern on top, blending it in, keep going back to the main colour, back and forth until you get a nice mixture and a nice gradient from the belly to the top of the dinosaur, all down to the tail. And then I actually go in on top of this light colour and I add this orange pattern on top of that. Again, I'm just stippling on the orange now, and this will have multiple layers just to build it up, and it just adds another element to this particular raptor. So this one's got 3 colours on top of it, and again after this we'll wash it down with the sepia wash to bring out all the details, and then go back in with a dry brush with the brighter orange, and in this one in particular the brighter green on top as well. And there we see the orange patterning that's coming out now as I'm adding just extra coloured layers on, and it's quite a contrast with the green, and really enjoyed painting this one. And there we go, we're adding the wash. Again, just same as the other two, it just brings out the details, all the folds in the scales, and especially around the face and the claws and things, and just going in. And then the last step of each of the dinosaurs will be, I'll use an off-white, a yellowy off-white, and I'll do the eyes with a little dot for the pupil and all the claws, and that'll be it done. Because this is more about the entire piece together when you see it at the end. So that's the 3 raptors done. I'm really quite happy with these. Now they've come out. I will map them down so they're not looking as shiny when they've dried off. But yeah, really nice they are. Lovely miniatures to paint. So I'm just figuring out where I want all the raptors to be again. I definitely want one on that main rock on the smaller side of the stream, at the bottom of your screen there. So now I'm going through and just adding a bit of glue. It's just super glue. Pop it on and just holding it there for a while, and it'll set, because it'll soak into all the fibres and the tea leaves and the basing material. And again, the orange raptor in particular really pops and stands out on the sort of the earthy colours that are on the actual base itself. So I'm just figuring out now where I want the other two, and just trimming any excess off the feet that might have been there from when I had them on the base so I could paint them. And then I glue these down as well. Exactly the same, just hold them there for a couple of seconds and it's all done. And then these are the 2 characters. So this is Dr. Just and Madame Hour. Closest proximities I could find. Surprising actually that if you try and find like any fancy female characters, they're always half naked. It's really infuriating. Dr. Just miniature was really easy to get. So with the Madame Hour, I decided to go for one that's, because if you watch the video, she's always a bit more prepared than Dr. Just, bless him. And so I've got those 2 stuck on. Yeah, it looks pretty good. We'll do some final shots in a moment. So thank you again to Just How Look Gaming. Link in the description. Hit them up on YouTube. Send them a subscribe. Cheers for all your help and your support with setting up the Crafty Mini. It is very much appreciated, and I hope you enjoy this diorama for your Ark 100 days, is it? Or oh, sorry, Ark Omega. And this is the final shots. say, I'm really happy with the finish on this. The diorama base in particular looks good, and I strongly recommend anyone out there just try it. Try doing bases. You will mess it up. It'll take you a few times, but this is, if you think this is just with a bit of wool filler from Wilkinson, some tea leaves, and a couple of grass tufts, and that's it. But thank you very much for watching. This has been the Crafty Mini, and we'll see you soon. We've got the next episode of season 2 coming out, the Lord of Screams, I believe it's called.
No, it's the Cosmic Screamer, Crafty. Come on, honestly.
Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you then. Bye bye.